Joy Prime, the ultimate experience.
Between now and the end of February, actually this year, our theme is building beautiful relationships and marriages. It can still be beautiful, it can still be good, it can still be pretty, and that is what we're going to be focusing on. So, in all the conversations we will be having all year round, our focus will be aimed at building beautiful relationships and marriages. And you better take a seat and make up your mind that yours will be beautiful. You will work at it. Remember, yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody. Remember that there is no one size fit all approach to any relationship. Okay, and so what it is that the root cause of yours will always have to found and we'll always have to find the root cause of your challenges, and then you can have specific solutions to them or specific approach to the very problem you are facing. There could be a communication problem in somebody's relationship or in somebody's marriage. You also could be having communication problems. But trust me, just because you and your partner are different from partner B, the approach to dealing with that may not be the same. The principles may be the same, but the approach may not be the same. So there is no one size fit all solution to any relationship. I just want us to know that. But ultimately, we want our homes to be beautiful, and that's the focus. And this morning, we're going to be looking at the case of respect, submission, and love. It's one of the areas that's so challenging in relationships and marriages. And you need to be submissive. What does it even mean? You need to love me. You need to respect me. What does it mean? Do we all not need love? Do we all not need respect? Do we all not need to be submissive to our partners? In essence, showing our partners respect. Do we all not need it? So we will be looking at that case and see how it pans out, especially so, right? In our society where we have come to believe that it is the woman who is supposed to be submissive. Of course, that's what the Bible says. And we know that a lot of people have also misconstrued this. And people have come to believe that if you're a woman and you have a very good standing in society, maybe you are a business owner, you're a CEO, you are in a place of authority, then your marriage cannot work, because automatically there is no way you can, humble yourself before your partner. Your marriage cannot work. We will be looking at some of those scenarios here and look at some people who have made theirs work regardless. And then you and I will be able to pick the lessons from it. So that's our focus for this morning. Next week, we will have another focus. Ultimately, like I said, building beautiful relationships and marriages. And just by way of encouraging you this morning, everybody needs a friend like mine, King, in their lives. You need a friend like my friend. I went through a very challenging time yesterday, and while I was going through that, this friend of mine was close by, and we had a meeting, and the person was close by. Some way, somehow, he dealt with the problem with me. He cried with me. He was angry, not with me, but he joined me to be angry about the issue. He went through almost all the emotions, because the person could feel you, and at the end of it all, encouraged you, such that by the time you're walking away, you have some strength to be able to move on. And just by encouraging you, I'm saying that this morning, if somebody calls you a friend, you should be able to live up to that friendship. It's a high status for me. For me, it is the apex of any relationship you can have with anybody. So for you to be able to call your partner and say, my partner is my friend, my sister is my friend, my brother is my friend, this friend of mine is a friend, the person has attained some status. And don't take friendship for granted, especially if someone sees you at that. Don't take it for granted. It's a beautiful place to be. So choose to be a friend to that person who considers you a friend. it's always a beautiful place to be. That's just how I want to encourage you this morning. I am smiling this morning, excited, and here, being able to share this with you because of a friend. And it's a beautiful place to be. We will take a short break. When we come back, I will introduce my guests to you, and then we will be delving into the subject of love, respect, and submission. How all of these play together in building beautiful relationships and marriages.
Joy 99.7 FM. Onga chicken tablets. Onga chicken tablets. Onga chicken tablets. Get this to me. Get this to me. Onga chicken tablets. Cook on who give me. Ediani yes weni. Onga dielele. Onga chicken tablets.
Introducing the new Onga chicken tablet.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
To clean an LPG tank, fill the tank with water. This forces out the remaining gas in the tank. Then release the water. The cleaner should wear appropriate protective clothing such as gas mask, goggles, boots, and gloves. LPG tanker vehicles should have appropriate warning inscriptions such as written warning signs, reflectors, and flashing lights. Storage tanks should be inspected regularly for rust and damages. Service providers should be called in when a defect is detected. A message from the National Petroleum Authority.
Hooray! The Ghana Presbytery of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana is 100 years. Hallelujah!
Join us in celebrating the goodness of God in the life of the Ghana Presbytery for the past 100 years under the theme
Grateful for our heritage, forging ahead in unity and faith.
Key activities planned for the celebration include
Bible and hymnal quiz,
Youth Rally and Heritage Trail for children and junior youth,
symposia and lecture series,
candlelight procession and fun games,
prayer and music festival,
awards and dinner night,
and a mega Thanksgiving service at the Independence Square. So come on, join us to celebrate Christ. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend.
Ghana Presbytery at 100.
Forging ahead in unity and faith.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you're just joining us, actually, it's Home Affairs here on Joy 99.7 FM and also on Joy Prime Television. We are also on our social media pages at Facebook on Joy 997 and also on Instagram, I am sure, YouTube as well. And so you can join us on all these platforms, depending on which one is very available and accessible to you. Now, like I said earlier, we said this year our focus is building beautiful relationships and marriages. there are still some very beautiful relationships out there. And we know that every day, now weekdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, people are getting married. Saturday, Sunday, every single day of the week, people are getting married. It's no longer a Saturday or a Sunday affair, depending on which day works for you. Sometimes it's also to cut down cost. But the essence is that people are getting married every single day. And you don't want people going into marriage and then coming back after 2 days, because sometimes you really haven't prepared for the journey. Are we even able to prepare through and through and say that I have prepared enough such that I will be able to surmount every challenge that I encounter on this journey? Maybe not. Sometimes you will have to seek help as you go on the journey. But our mandate is to make homes out of houses. So we're going to focus seriously on that this year. And when was this? I think it was on Monday that I had a call from a friend of mine and I posted it on Facebook. I mean, she was just too happy. I was so busy preparing a presentation and this person kept calling. I picked, what is it? She says, Adam, I am so excited. I'm like, okay, I'm happy for you. Go on. Then she says, my husband is such a pervert, it's not funny. I burst out laughing. I'm like, so this is what you called me to tell me. She says, you don't understand, right? Like, this guy can call me, distracts me whilst I am at work, send me messages. And this afternoon, just guess what he did? He sent flowers and added a note about how she says how she does what? She sets his mind and body on fire. And so he sent a note with details just to excite her, and she's so happy that she says the way my husband looks at me, those desirous looks and all the things he says, he's just a pervert, and that excites me. I said, every girl deserves that from time to time, so enjoy it. And then the messages started flowing into my inbox. Then people said that, look, they went on a journey and wanted to build beautiful relationships and marriages, but they won't do it anymore. The first one said that she thought their relationship was a bit stale. And so she, after what I posted, she was like, okay, how do I get things going? Okay. And to start with, she ordered for some new, lingerie and was trying to, look nice in the home. Her husband looked at her and said, I thought these things were for young girls and young wives. An old woman like you, what are you doing with this? You actually just turned me off with what you're wearing. And just walked away on her. And she says, how do I build a beautiful home and a beautiful relationship if my husband can't even appreciate the efforts I am trying to make? She says she's 45. I saw her pictures. Beautiful like Afi. How do you call such a person an old woman who cannot wear? And she actually said, wearing matching dress and bra. The guy says, nah, it won't work. And, I mean, it sounded very cold, Then the next day, I got another one. Someone was asking me if it's a movie. I said, it's not a movie. All of these are sitting in my inbox. That they've been married for just a year. And in that 1 year, husband has cheated on her with 6 different women. At least those are the ones that she knows. Then the man says that I am not well, so I'm taking some days off. Apparently, his old girlfriend, B, was coming back to town from Abutre and had decided to, make time for her. And he chose no other place than their home and in their matrimonial bed. So every time I feel my husband is not well, I get up, I make meals for you. And she says sometimes in the morning, they even make love before she leaves the house. And apparently the moment I leave, someone else comes to the house. So, and that's been going on for a week. That was after the man confessed everything. This day she went to work and decided that she didn't decide. She went for a meeting in town, closed early and said there was no need going back to the office. So ordered food from their favorite restaurant just to go and surprise husband at home. And she says they used the electronic gate. So she opened the gate, got to the house. Husband didn't realize it because apparently she went straight to their bedroom. He was asleep, naked, with this other woman, naked in their bed. She said somehow she went numb and all she did was took pictures and went to the living room to sit down. And they woke up after almost an hour. The only thing she said to the husband was that, you deserve to be happy. And everything that makes you happy, you should do it. I don't think I make you happy. And so she said she didn't cry. She didn't shout. She hasn't been asking questions. Husband has tried. She moved to the guest room, has tried to talk to her. She says, there's no need explaining anything. I'm done. And she said she's comforted. Why? There are hotels. We even have guest rooms in the house. But if you chose our room and our bed, it just tells me that I am of no value to you. And that is the reason I won't continue with this. She says she deserves better and she's filed for a divorce. And this breaks my heart. I'm going on and on with this because now I shared my friend's story because this is how they are making theirs beautiful, hoping that you will get a lot more of those. And rather you get people telling you that we try, but it's just not working. We try. It's not like we don't try, but it's just not working. And there are so much more sitting in there, so... but you see, this agenda will agend. We will continue on this tangent for the whole year. And this morning, we have chosen to talk about one aspect that is also very critical. Love, submission, respect. Mama T, it is one of the areas that people fight about all the time. Afi, I'm sure you have heard last week when you shared a bit with us. So this morning, we're going to have Mr. Kofi also on phone. Amati, I summoned the two of you and Kofi as well. Kofi's wife, as I am learning, pastors a big church. So, and I want to find out from Kofi if he fellowships with his wife. So this is a woman pastor. She's a wife, a mother. How is she respecting you, submitting to you, and loving you, such that you don't feel she's lording it over you, and then that brings about a rift in the home. Mama T, you be hard woman. Hard woman of mommy. She sits here, she gives it to the men left, right. I mean, I think somebody actually even called one day and said, this woman power. I say, yeah, but she says it as it is. Now, do you not come across sometimes to some men as one who is not respectful, one who is not humble? And how does your husband take your stance? How have you worked it through? Last week, PG blessed us. He let us into his life and his home. How do you manage these things? Mother, of mommy feminist, hard woman. And then you have a lot of things going for you as well. How do you juggle such that you're still a humble wife? And what does it, I want to find out from you. I'm starting with you. When we talk about a woman being humble, respectful, and submissive, what's the concept?
All right, thank you very much, Adam. This is a very thorny conversation, as we all know. First and foremost, I would want to say that if you're not Christian and have not signed, maybe not Christian only, but if you're not religious, because it's also transcending to other religions, and you've not signed up to the concept of submission, very okay for you. If you're Christian or religious and you've signed up to the concept of submission, I want to say that it is okay to interrogate that concept, to break the concept down into the practice of it and the perception of it being spiritual, because there is a perception that there is a spiritual part. I can't say perception, there's a school of thought that there's a spiritual aspect of submission. And so it's okay for a Christian girl, boy, husband, and wife to interrogate the concept of submission and see how it even applies in your culture, your way of life at home, and everything. Then also I want to say that if we define submission by how some theologians do it and how even simple Google gives us the Greek words and all that, it basically comes to yielding your authority to another. And this would, in Christian perspective, there's the concept that is a covering on you. So you yield your authority, and then there is, I don't know if it is a man who covers you, but there is a covering. So you want to know the covering. Is it like a spiritual covering? So if the devil is attacking you, then your man is like, like the shield and takes the attack. Or in physical defense also, there is a covering. You want to interrogate the two. The other thing I want to say about the concept of submission is that if we come to, as I said, the practice of it in your home, I want us to look at scenarios, look at daily living in a couple's life, how submission work.
Okay.
One, if I am married and my husband is a spendthrift, he is the one who, he's carelessly generous, if I can use that. He's generous. Generous is great, but there are people who are so generous that they can lift their money to another before they realize that they need that money for something very important. And they even fund people's luxuries. And then their need, for example, is not catered for. If you're in a relationship that you have such a person, and for the other person, which is the female, is better with money, who should be submitting when it comes to the conversation, practice, management of the family funds? It's okay that he can use what he's allocated for himself the way he wants it. You don't have to necessarily go into that, because every adult needs the autonomy on how and everybody also, in my concept, in my view, have a right to even make mistakes and learn through practice. So it's okay that, for example, money that he's allocated to himself, he can spend it on however he wants. But do you keep quiet for his careless generosity to impact the fees of your children, the projects that you have, in the name of submission? That is one. And it is both ways for me. I don't say this to only the men. If I love to buy everything that I find beautiful, even when I don't need it, I would love that there's an appreciation of help on the other person's side, or even a professional on how I manage my money, right? So in that space, I want to also look at. There's also I want to also look at growing children, a scenario of growing children, where there's a husband who has a baggage from his family on father figure screaming at children, unable to speak gently to children, is always angry. And so that is how that's what he knows. That's how he takes care of children.
Yeah.
In the name of submission, do you keep quiet and see the generational impact of people who cannot control their anger being handed over to your children? And I say to your children, not as in you alone, but you and your children, handing over. You can see the handing over of a generational toxic behavior to your children, but you have to be submissive. There is the perception that in that submission, the husband will change. And you're allowing things to go, there is a perception that I think spiritually, the Holy Spirit will change the husband. I don't see that happening. Because I think that faith and change is the work of spirit and, actions. Yeah. And so if you don't have the conversation for him to know that what we are doing is wrong, what you are doing is wrong, then it's not going to happen. You will pray, but the Holy Spirit will let you know that there is work you have to do of having that conversation with your husband. So with time, the preaching of submission has moved, as I perceive it, as I have followed the preaching, into the woman does not have to leave the brain at the altar. There is also the concept that submission is not being everything, like leaving everything, decision at the doorstep of the husband and things like that. So that's progressive definition over time, if I can use that, of submission, makes me wonder whether really we are talking submission or we are talking mutual respect.
Absolutely.
Or
we are
talking subservience.
The definition of submission and the practical concept of submission in the home, and the impact, there is a negative impact of submission, regardless of how we look at it. And one of them is what I mentioned, how family finances go haywire, how parents hand over toxic attitude to children because the other has to look on and see. And this goes into abuse. There is the abuse part. And I want to make one more statement, Adam, if that's okay. And this is that for some of us, especially Christian people who marry, if I can use the word, reasonable men, who do not even require submission of us, we tout submission. And we are likely to say that we are submissive when really there's no, there's no atmosphere as home that creates you to be submissive in a way that can impact your life. And so we think that what we have spiritually, because we have told our mind that we are submissive, is submission. And so if another person is having really tough time trying to understand or manage a conflict at home, we use submission as a tool to allow their oppression to go on.
Yes.
So a woman wants to lose weight. She's thinking of using a part of her finance for dieting or to go to the gym. A husband's ego appreciates that the gym, people will touch my wife, she's going to be looking this way in the gym because gym outlooks and everything, she's going to be, another man is going to look at her and so says, don't go. That decision impacts the woman more than it impacts the husband.
Exactly.
But the husband's authority is to be respected. And so she's unhealthy, unhappy, she has hormonal issues, but she cannot go to the gym.
Because she's being submissive.
Because she's being submissive.
And that ultimately translates into you loving your husband.
Yes. Now, the truth of that situation is that she loses joy. If you're almost sick because your hormones have an issue, you feel that you need some, energy, that you're sluggish, tired at home, and you need to exercise, for example, to be able to run things. You cannot do things. You are not too well. Everything culminates into you losing joy. When you don't have joy, it doesn't flow toward the other. It will not flow from you to the husband. And so mostly in this conversation, you realize that we have seen many of our mothers being dead women walking, numb to life's little openings and living it. And when young women appreciate that submission, the concept of submission has been used as a tool to whip their mothers into dying while they are living, and they rise against it, I think the church's responsibility is to look at how that tool is being practiced in the home, and then what it means for the church when the church says a woman should be submit.
Whew.
Plenty well said.
Mama T says perfect.
Absolutely.
Now, what I get is the essence of everything is you should be able to communicate regardless, right? From the scenarios you gave. Has the problem been how to go about it? Have you observed that?
I think that most often there's a perception that the women will have to be soft-spoken. Especially in there's a perception that they use Sarah as an example. I think in Peter when Sarah says, when it says that
husband, my Lord.
Yes, that she calls her husband my Lord, for example, and then there's a that she had a quiet. I think that statement was even that she has a quiet spirit.
Yes.
Not even a quiet mouth. Can you imagine? A quiet spirit. But you see, the beauty of God's creation is that we are not all quiet. There are some people who are extroverted. There are some people whose demeanor whose temperament makes them quiet. We are not all quiet. But that does not mean that we can all not be respectful. Being respectful to a partner or another adult is really a basic value of life. And so if you see a heated conversation, for example, I had the tendency to withdraw when there is conversation that are hard. And I thought that that was me being peaceful. So somebody could even say that I was being peaceful. But really, that does not solve the problem. You've got to sit in the conversation and do the hard work of it being messy, and then getting to the point where there's a compromise.
Great.
And so that might not necessarily be how you put it. It is important that men appreciate that when your ego is being shaken, look at what is shaking your ego.
That's it.
And the essence of it. And know when to appreciate that this ego shaking is even happening to my wife as well, because we all have egos. Her ego is being wrapped also. But we are sitting here because we are shaking our egos to get to a destination. And that destination is for our common good.
Great.
And so do not, in my view as a man, respond too much to your ego at the detriment of the family.
Great. Mama T.
Good morning. Beautiful sister.
Oh, we're shaking tables, aren't we?
And we need to shake tables sometimes. It is very necessary.
Yes, so I'm on to you now, finding out how have you, because you preach it all the time, and now I want you to put yourself in the picture. How have you practiced that concept of submission, love, respect, humility, and all that, such that you're building this marriage, this home that you and the entire family is proud of?
Great. Good morning again to everybody who is listening to us. And I am grateful to God. I feel started well. It is believed that the African is notoriously religious. And most often, yesterday somebody asked me a question. Why is it that the submission bit is so strongly spoken about? That love. Now, the Bible is actually saying that the man should love and the woman should submit. Then I answered, just the way the part of scripture which says that children, obey your parents in the Lord has so been belabored against parents. Do not provoke your children to wrath, not even to anger, but to wrath. To wrath, because our society is practically patriarchal, and so it is a man's world. Since 1900, it has been a man's world, and I am surprised that it is still a man's world. How far we have come, how far women have also come, but it is still a man's world. So the more quiet you are, the more something is happening and you are saying nothing, and you are even crying about it as a woman, then that is submission.
But people who are quiet can have a lot of sinister.
I know. So most often, religion has done a little
harm than good.
Yes. And religion is everything. I mean, Islam, Africa traditional religion, everything, plus church. Submission. When I read Ephesians 5, and I'm starting from verse 21, I am seeing that submit yourself to each other in the fear of God. Then as we journey on, the Bible begins to allocate what each partner should do. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Those parts are taken out. Love your wife as Christ loved the church. Wives, and gave himself for her. Now, wives, submit yourself to your own husbands as unto the Lord. So these things are here. I noticed that I won't go into what Afi has already said, but I noticed that even in the church, even getting married to pastors, no, bishop doesn't marry. Pope rather doesn't marry. Bishops, whoever. The difficulty I still find in the Christian community is still the male, the egocentric male who wants to put himself out there and still look for submission in his wife. And if she is not saying anything, my wife is a very submissive woman.
Let me ask you, when they are looking for submission in their wives, what are they looking for? Practically, what are
they are looking for when I can. Okay, so I have started in a lot of marital mediations.
Yes.
And one thing that cuts across is that when I am talking, she's talking. And
so when the man is talking, you are not supposed to talk. Okay.
So or when I have said one, she has already said three. You don't have to have a view. Okay. That is submission. Even when you have done right, at the end of the day, for the sake of peace, you have to go down on your knees and say, Damira, mpauchofacheme.
I see.
And at marriage, you have lost your mind. You have lost your independence. You have lost your abilities. You have lost everything that God gave to you, including wisdom.
That is how you become submissive.
That is submission.
Okay.
That is submission. And so in our churches,
I get it now.
as long as you are quiet. In fact, the husband is insulting his wife, saying many bad things, and the woman decides to walk away, like a few would walk away, and say, you see, I told you are very disrespectful. Whilst I am talking, you are walking away. That is not submission. I am happy Afi mentioned something that men and women both have egos. We do. It's just that we as women have been trained to suppress our ego in a very beautiful way. And so it looks as if we don't have anything. I believe in submission. I believe in the submission which does not throw one person.
How do you practice it?
Right. So this is how I practice it. When I got married to Osofo, Osofo and I have been we were very good friends before we got married.
Okay.
We were very, very good friends. I mean, we talked about a number of things. If I should tell you about how we even got together, you would laugh. We were in a church and we were members of a prayer team. So Osofo would always come by my house and call me, and then we'll go. Then one day, after many months and years, I told him, oh, Brother Mensah said he wants to marry me. Then he went like, Sani wari nipa. And apparently he's saying that na me ko apenda ne okonoka said then. So that is how we started. But we had been very good friends, and so we only added small passion, and the marriage started. Our marriage has been a very beautiful one, because from the beginning, Osofo did not. Well, this kind of submission, ding, was not part of his whole thing. Okay. So we were all doing things like friends. The only difficulty I had was that you have to tell me something a few times before it gets into my ears. once won't stick. Right. So it also stems up from my upbringing. And when I came in, I noticed that Osofo is very meticulous with all he does. And I was from a Rasta home. I mean, every day did that basa basa basa. So when I came in, I had to be told, do it this way. That is how it is done. If you don't do it, the next time you see him doing it, when you will start learning. For my first 7 years, I learned. I learned crying. I learned throwing tantrums. I learned everything. But after 7 years, I had learned and had told myself, if you want to be here, learn, because this is how this
was
person...
he learning from you too?
You see me like this. I wonder why people think I'm a very difficult person, and my natural temperament is very laid back. But my only difficulty is that I cannot stand when you are disturbing someone. I can't stand it. I cannot take it when you feel that because of position, because of whatever, somebody must be trampled upon. It is a boss subservient role we are doing here. That one I don't understand, and I will certainly work against it. And so we had it beautiful.
So he learned that you won't take that, right?
Yes.
And you actually said that he really even wasn't the type.
Yes. So it was fine. In fact, our beginning was fine. We sit, we talk. Me and Osofo, we talk. We can talk into the night. And so that is how we have done it. beyond that, I did not take all those ones for granted that he is listening to you or this or that. Everything we need to talk about it. We need to sit. And so that is how we have been doing it. Our children started coming in and they grew up becoming very, very close to each other because they noticed that we were a very close pair. So that is how we have done it over time. When we were transferred from Koforidua to Nkoko, we have been around a few places. And Osofo would usually give me things to do in church. He noticed that I can talk. So he said, you are a talk, not like a talker, you can talk. I want you to build this part of you so that you would be able to help. So he gave me a lot of freedom to work with him in the church. And we have worked together as a couple over the last many years. I mean, we have been everywhere together. There were times when he would tell me, my friends think I have given you too much space to operate. And I am wondering, I said, well, I don't know what too much space means. What it means here is that I have gone to school, I have learnt, I understand, and so what will I do? Let me use what I have to help you do the church. I am not the pastor. You are. But the crown on a man's head is his wife. Allow me space. So he allowed me a lot of space, including bringing me sometimes to Joy FM. He would drive me. He has driven me here a few times, like 5 or 6 times. And sometimes he would like, oh, when I was going this way, I heard you on radio. My friends have been talking about it. I am happy. So that is about it. Not too many wives have this. Not too many wives. That support. So Osofo has been very supportive in this area. But there has also been times when he would really come at you. No, you didn't have to do it like this. You didn't have to say it like this. And I understand that part also. I also noticed that Osofo is a practical choleric. So I understand the choleric thing. And I make sure that we run around it, not bumping into each other. There are quite a number of times we have bumped into each other. That
must be hard.
Yes. There are a lot of times we have so bumped into each other.
Because it looks like you both are cholerics.
So cholericism has rubbed off on me a lot.
Oh my
word. And so there are too many times we have bumped into each other. And at the end of the day, I'm naturally you see me like I'm a very peaceful person. So I will always be the first to make peace. Always be the first to make peace. I have always believed that whenever there's a rift at home, the first person who would take the initiative to want to reconcile. I look at reconciliation more than resolution. Sometimes it's difficult to resolve, but let's meet at a point and reconcile. And I'm always the first person to give a hand of fellowship, right? Always. Even with my children, when they were little, one of my sons, as little as 7, he will go like, he will just be quiet. He will be there. He will just make sure that you notice that he's not fine with you. So could you come in? So Mama T, can't you notice that I am angry with you? Can't you say sorry? I said, oh. So that is when he was very little. And so I have learned to do reconcile most of the time. But my little difficulty is here. Has to do with when in a home, a husband feels that he's the only person who deserves respect. And so respect means that I don't want to go into further what I wanted to say because it will impact negatively on something. But the husbands think that I am the only one. I have heard counselors say a husband rationalizes respect as love. And I am wondering, do women want to be disrespected? No. Do women want to be thrown down like a... Don't women also deserve to be respected? Yes. Don't men also have to submit? There are times, you see, in a home, there are times God has made you the head. There are times in the headship that somebody else plays a leadership role. And that is, look at it this way. How in a company, in an organization, there is the MD. There are other line managers who are here. Sometimes it is important for this MD, who is the head, to delegate some of his authority to these people so that they can help him do things. The fact that you are a husband does not mean you are the only wise person in this union. It is not true that you are the only important person here. It will interest you to know I have met very, very, very super intelligent women in most of the things I do. But if a woman says that I am submitting all of this under your lead, she is saying that I want you to lead, so I'll follow your lead. I am following your lead. And just like Afi said, if I am following your lead, then I'm saying that you know where we are going. If you don't know where we are going, where are we going? Then I have to come in and tell you that, Papa, I think that where we are going, we may encounter a lot of difficulty. If you say that you are the head and so you don't want to listen, right? That is fine. But I have said my own. When things are not going right, in my thinking as a human being, I said that this and this and this will end here. And you still think that because you are the head, you are the only one who knows the way. No. So I am saying that submission means that I have willingly decided to put my independence down and allow you to lead.
I asked Afi a question. I'll ask you the same question. Does how you say it count?
Yes. I think I've said this before. In this life, but so there are two ways to it. In this life, it is always about how you are saying what you are saying. You have a right to say everything. In fact, everything. But how you are saying what you are saying. But again, there are times when you
just have to be forthright with it.
Yes, this is what it is. Whether I put sugar on it, I put milk on it, I put icing on it. At the end of the day, I am saying what I am saying. I can run around it, but I am saying that I don't understand this. Look at what Afi is saying. When we have financial managers at home and our husbands are the financial managers, they are the head. Oh, headship everywhere. This headship thing, and I said that women want leadership. Every wife wants to have a husband as a leader. But the beautiful truth is that every wife wants a truthful leader, a caring leader, a leader who understands, a leader who will also find out, what do you think? It will interest you to know that there are husbands who think that their wives don't have one nyansa in their head, so they are not asking for any suggestion. No, listen, it is not about whether I married you without having any answer or thing. Society has taught us, told us that as for women, they are I don't know if you have not heard it. See, I'm bad. I'm going to say crazy.
But I think that you are the most nyansa-less person if you go and marry somebody who doesn't have nyansa. Because your nyansa should teach you not to go and marry somebody who doesn't have nyansa.
So at the end of the day, you impact on each other. But you see, our society has a lot of difficulty, too many difficulties when it comes to marital issues. And this respect, this love. Look at this woman who went to buy nice lingerie, is that the name? Mm-hmm. And then the husband go like matching panties, and look at it. Every woman wants to be in a beautiful relationship, in a beautiful home. This marriage is built.
Men want to be in beautiful relationships, peaceful marriages.
Absolutely,
we all want.
But see, we are building, and I like how you put it. It is we are building. Exactly. Both of us. Let's build with respect. Both of us. Let's build with understanding. Both of us. Let's build with submission. Both of us. Let's build with decorum. Both of us. Love. Both of us. Love me. Let me love you back. It is very difficult when only one person is doing all the job, making it work.
Thank you very much. We're getting somewhere with this. I'm sure that if you're home, you're taking notes and asking yourself, okay, I wanted to wait and say this at the end of the conversation. Do we have Kofi on the line? If we have Kofi on the line, Daniela, do let me know. Marriage, relationship, I sum it up in two, the Bible verses. Love your neighbor as yourself, and then do unto others what you would like to be done unto you. So know that if you're trampling on somebody, you're insulting them, you're belittling them, your attitude towards them is condescending and all that, you ask yourself, if this is done to me, would I like it?
Yes.
If your answers are no, most likely the other person wouldn't like it.
Truth, Adam, I am taking the wind out of your sail. Yesterday, this is what I was telling a man and his wife. I preach empathy. When it is, you put yourself in your wife's shoes for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, become a woman, try and wear her shoes and see if all what you were doing, if she turns it turns towards you, how would you feel?
Exactly.
In 5 minutes, we had finished solving the problem.
It's as simple as that. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. The things I love, I don't want anybody to insult me. I don't want anybody to look down on me. I want to feel good. I want to go to the gym. I want to be healthy. I want to be this. If I love myself and my partner is my neighbor and I love them, then I know that these things are good for them too.
also.
So if you look at it this way, then we will have some peace. Other than you thinking that this good only accrues to me and does not accrue to my
the other
partner. 0302216541. I want us to pick about 3 phone calls, and I want to ask, when we talk about love, submission, respect in your homes, how does it play out? It would be good to know how these play out in your home. Whilst I wait for your phone call, and I was asking if we have Kofi on the line, because it would be good to hear from, so that they don't tell us that, Adam, you brought women, you yourself, you're a woman, you brought 2 other women into the studio to come and discuss the subject. It's not fair like that. We don't have Kofi. Okay. Now, do you know about the new delicious? Oh yes, Ongalicious is the new delicious. Create those amazing moments with your favorite Onga seasoning. No matter your cooking experience, Onga is a delight to make great tasting meals in every home. Onga is convenient to use and it brings out that great taste and aroma in your meal. So let's toast to the new Onga beef tablet and Onga stew tablet with superior taste and comforting aroma for all your meals. Mama's Helping Hand, Onga, proudly Ghanaian. Connect with us at Onga Ghana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yum Vita wishes to thank you for patronizing our products, especially the new member. That's the 350-gram block bottom pack. Thank you for your support during the past years. We value opportunities to serve you and look forward to doing so in the future. May this new year bring lots of cheer as we grow deliciously. Yum Vita, a delicious way to grow. Do we have someone on the line? And price change alert from Fan Milk. As part of Fan Milk Ghana's commitment to constantly provide high quality and keep products affordable, there has been a slight upward adjustment in prices for key products within our portfolio due to rising cost of production. The key brands affected include Big Size Fun Yogo Strawberry, that's the 145 mils, Fun Choco 145 mils, Fun Ice 145 mils, Fandango 170 mils. All have moved to 1 CD 50 pesos instead of the 1 CD 20 pesos. We have also introduced Fun Ice 180 mils at 2 CDs. Kindly check all our social media pages, distribution points, and points of sale for the new prices. Fun Milk is proud of its heritage in Ghana, spanning over half a century, and we continue to assure the general public of its unwavering commitment to providing quality, nutritious, and delicious on-the-go refreshment to all our cherished consumers. For more information, please contact us on 0204 312932. Oh, unfortunately, I am learning that our phone lines are down. Oh, how I honestly, that's the reason we're unable to raise Kofi on the line as well. Now, but you can send in your messages. I honestly want to know how this plays out in your home. So our phone line, the console, what am I even saying? You can send your messages to 055 1111997, 055 1111997, and you can also post on Facebook. We will get it and read it. I want to know how this really plays out in your home. How is this playing out in your home? And how is it impacting the relationship? How difficult is this? How difficult is it for you to realize that your partner, so we're talking both ways, you know, and you know that you know that there are some women who are very foul-mouthed too, right?
Oh yes.
Yes, there are some women who they will take what we are saying even wrongly. That they say we should speak our mind. the person will just get up and start dishing out. There are men who are afraid to go home because of what they will be met with at home. We just need to have a conversation, and the woman feels like, look, I know better than you do, and then they go on that tangent with you. So it's important that, in as much as we're saying that, look, yes, submission, that's a problem of men really, but the women too, sometimes we need to understand that.
Oh yes,
it's a relationship. Yes. It's partnership. Yes. You respect me, I respect you, and it doesn't have to be the man respecting you first. You know, anybody can take the initiative. True or false?
True.
Yeah.
And I say this most of the time, that in a place where submission is insisted, there's no love. The Bible says that there's no fear in where there's perfect love, there's no fear. There's no love. So it's important that once you get to the point where you're having this rift of who is what, whether one feels oppressed or, please give yourself the true reflection of what I want to say is that allow yourself to truly reflect on what is happening, and give yourself the permission to let go when you notice truly that you're only stroking your own egos both ways. There are times when you know that the reason why you're fighting this cause, I tell my son, will it take you to heaven? Will it make will it bring peace? Things like that. There are times when you man, woman, know that the reason why you are holding on to this is because you are fighting for your ego.
Yeah. That's all.
And that's all. And when you get to that point, it's important to come to the compromise to say that, you know what, in my gut feelings, I don't feel good about it, but I understand. And let's have conversations with reasons. And when I say this, I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. I'm saying that if, for example, I have a master's program or a PhD program abroad, and I bring the conversation up that I'm thinking of, I've got the admission. Sometimes the conversation ends at don't even apply. And most often, we've got to be frank. Most often, first and foremost, the woman is already fighting societal pressures. And if she has children, mommy guilt and all that, by herself, within herself. Now, she brings a conversation up of saying that, you know what, one of my milestones in life is to have a PhD. And then husband says, but you are, maybe we can go with the 45, since it looks like 45 is when we are.
You're off the road.
Minister says, but you are 45 at this time, what are you going to do with the PhD again? Or why are you going to school again? And things like that. Sometimes, submission does not come as blatant authority over you. It comes as the word you use, condescending. Throwing water down on what you want to say. So I want to go to school. But you, at this time, can you even learn? The person is not putting fire, as we call fire, on you, but the person is watering you down, and that's the impact that happens sometimes. And so it ends there. But let's say that you've even taken the bold step for yourself, for your children to see what people can do in life, to go through the admission process, get an admission. And then I heard this also on radio, I think just yesterday or so. Then there's the perception that you can't go because we are married. We have to live together. Some things are very interesting for me. Like, we are married, the marriage that we say is lifetime. We use egos and temporary feelings to take decisions. Like, when she go, who take care of the children and things like that. We use that to take temporary decision, as though when she goes, she will not finish school and come back and things like that. And so you realize that such egos are the reasons why we are taking. The man is not saying don't go because he thinks that if you go, maybe we're having fertility issues. And of course,
it's just
sex
ego.
issues. It's just ego. It's just the feeling that, why are you going?
It's sad.
And truly, I think that we have to examine our thoughts on the decisions, on how we talk about the decisions our partners make. There are times when really what your partner has to do is to inform you, not necessarily ask your permission. Because adults, I think it's a gift God gave adults and even children, the autonomy to be human. When that is taken out of you,
you definitely will want to fight
Yes.
to take it back. Mama T, I want to ask this question. It baffles me. So we are married, and to the extent we go naked in front of each other, right? And we make love, we have sex, and that's the deepest thing I feel you can have with anybody, giving yourself, to each other. Where is the ego again?
Oh, at that place, there is no ego. And sometimes it will also
So the moment you wear your
know.
clothes, the ego comes
Yes,
again.
But Adam, there is something. Even you see, people, I don't want to say men, people who have too much ego, even they show their ego. Why are you lying down like that? Can't you shake yourself small? My friend, turn yourself. Oh, a woman told me the idea me yapa is when my husband would come. She said she has a job, an 8 to 5 job. The painful part of this is when she has come back from work, cooked everything, she goes to sleep, and then her husband will come.
What does it mean?
Like, lie down well, I want to come and have sex with you. So he's not even being nice about it. Go like, so, and she was expecting a bit of beautiful words. You are tired. Please, can we? So even there are men who still think it is my right here. I have believed there's something always. When God says that the two shall be one, God is talking about a place where both of us at a point lose our right completely to each other.
Yes.
But if you don't want to lose yours to somebody, but you want somebody to lose hers or his
Then
to you,
still your own.
then yeah. So even there, and there are times when men or women
want
think
to
that
dominate.
this is my place and you have to give me. There are some forms where we can't even negotiate about this thing. I want sex. I want it now, and I mean now, and do it well. Make sure your face is looking nice. Lie down well. If it is not
end
that
up in that marriage,
if it is
in
not
the
that,
first
Edem,
place,
why
this is
would
starting a new
a man
conversation,
want to
but our
come
time
to
is
have
up.
sex and then he's running? Like I always say, you are laughing. He's what he has taken one bicycle. He's going speed. When he's done, he's not turning to the woman to find out how did it go with you. But he turns to his side of the bed and goes to sleep. He comes the next day and he wants sex and he wants sex and he wants sex.
Mama T, but there are some women who are very boring.
You
But
know
that's
that.
not where we are going.
You know
right?
the boring one.
That's
We
not
won't go
where
there
we're going
today.
this
But
morning.
again, seriously, I keep saying that I've sat through a lot of counseling, and I have noticed a lot of ladies, wives who are so disrespectful. I mean, sometimes even at that place, the way they are talking, I mean, it is so bad. And you are wondering, if I am here and you are talking this way, how are you doing it when it has to do with just the two of you?
In fact, Danielle, I'd like you to note this down. We will be having that conversation sometimes. How do people end up in some of these marriages? Like, how did you get there?
Sometimes it didn't start like that. Sometimes it starts.
So it's still part of the conversation. So it didn't start like that. How did it get there, even while it started well?
Yeah.
Such that even at the point where we are copulating, I will still be told, do this and do that. And so where is the feeling to even do it? You know, and I think we'll just wrap up on this. You have just a minute. Maybe you want to just speak on this for me. I've heard people say, I don't want my partner to feel like I am vulnerable. But what is wrong in laying your vulnerabilities before your partner, be it you, the man or the woman? What's wrong with it? This is you're supposed to be the closest person to me. You should be able to see me cry. You see me naked. You see me in my best moods. You see me everywhere. So if I am feeling vulnerable, why shouldn't I be able to lay it before you?
It comes from, in my view, the simple reason that your vulnerability is used against you. If you're in a space where you can comfortably be vulnerable, and it does not impact your worth as a human being,
then it's fine.
Then it becomes easy for you to even be, you know. So, and you see, when we have this conversation, I always say that it is also because people don't know better. And that statement I make is not to excuse people, but it is to say that all of us will have to come to the marriage with an openness to learn, an openness to, it's like a refiner's fire, as we say what Jesus is, right? And that's actually the picture that Christian marriage is supposed to paint, the relationship between God and Christ and the church and this. So if you're signed up for a Christian marriage, I think you should also sign up for the refiner's fire to refine you.
Right.
And it does not come with the other partner being quiet all the time. It comes with your ugly self being opened up to you. And don't allow your ego to come in the way of you listening to your spouse, especially your wife, to make you better. And I want to say these simple things before we close. One is that patriarchs of the church, patriarchs of the church will have to understand that the submission has become a tool, and it is used to take the freedom that Christ gave to women out of them. And they would have to look at how they preach submission.
Great. Thank you very much. It's been a very interesting conversation, and I just hope that we all have learned a thing or two. I have learned, especially so when Mama T was trying to tell us what people demand when they are talking about submission. I kept saying, I didn't know that one. I hope you have learned a thing or two. And let's work at these things to build our homes. Yes. It can be beautiful. Yes. If your home is not nice, you go to work, you are stressed, you are stressing your colleagues, you're stressing your bosses, you're stressing your subordinates. It impacts every aspect of your life. So why don't we just try, work it through, understand each other, love your neighbor, your wife, your husband as yourself, and do unto them what you would like them to do unto you, so that we all can have some peace in our homes. My name is Adam Knight-Tay. This morning, my guest, Afi Agbenyo, and then Mama T.
Good morning, everyone.
Have been our guest, and we have been talking about building beautiful homes, the special case of love, submission, and respect. We all need it through and through. Enjoy the weekend, and we will see you next week with another building.